Just start.
Yeah, just start it.
Yeah.
You gonna do the intro? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Welcome to our podcast.
Don't die. Yeah. So.
Podcast number 2. Really out there wilding. Our shout out to those 7 billion subscribers.
Yeah. No. We've really been hitting this off. Love for all our support. You're not sending me enough money. I don't have $5 in my bank account. So I actually thought up a good intro question for our 76th podcast here, and that would be that what do you think of ghosts?
Like if they're real or not, or
Yeah, let's start there.
Okay, I mean,
because I think I think there's something there. We call it ghosts, but there's definitely like something there.
Maybe not necessarily like a dead relative, but something.
So my family has like a history of basically being haunted, and for instance, my uncle and aunt, they went on this trip to, I don't fucking remember, and they were out on these rolling plains, and my uncle took this picture of my aunt, and there was nobody around for miles. They could see because it was like rolling hills. Just grab the Sour Patch Kids, James. We're not professionals. If it creaks, it creaks. So they're out there and they take this photo, and in the photo you can see somebody standing behind my aunt. Like you can vividly see their arms and everything, and for sure there's nobody there.
Okay.
Another story. Before I was born, my parents lived in this house with their newborn daughter, my sister, and the dog would always bark at the laundry room, and it would refuse to go in there. And there were a lot of just creepy things that happened. Like my mom got cursed out on the baby monitor in my sister's room, and it used her name. And one night, they ended up hearing like this scream, and what's so funny, you bitch?
Just looked up at the camera, not even on.
Just duct taped up there. Anyway, so they heard this scream in the house, and they freaked out because they thought it was my sister, and they went and they checked on her, and she was fine, and everything was good and all. But the next morning they went and they checked the laundry room, and the dog was dead in the laundry room, and it had died of a heart attack. And there's tons of other just like weird stories in my family, and like my parents were telling me about how like this one night it was like them like and all my aunts and uncles sitting around a table talking about all these weird stories, and how this big wooden clock fell off the wall. But it didn't just like fall off the wall while they were talking about this. It like jumped off the wall like a foot or two out and landed on the table in the middle of the room.
All right. Yeah, I don't really have any like haunted stories.
You ever seen the shadow people?
Okay, that is a different game.
No. We don't know what ghosts. You can't see the air quotes, but I'm quoting. I've met my quota. Intake. So yeah, what do you think about the shadow people?
I mean, the shadow people are nice. I don't got anything against them. I mean, it would be nice if they would like say hello or something, you know.
Have you ever seen the shadow people?
Yes.
Too
many times.
I once saw like this massive shadow person. Like I was playing around in the backyard by myself. This was when I lived in Alabama, and just this massive shadow in the middle of the day just raced across the woods, and it was massive, and I could not figure out what it was.
There was, back when I lived in Michigan, like behind our subdivision, in between our subdivision and the one like behind us, there was this huge section of woods that had like drainage ponds and stuff in it. And of course, as a kid, that's where everyone used to go hang out because just in the woods. Yeah, obviously. And then you would hang out there a little too late. It would start getting dark. The place was terrifying at night. I will tell you what. Because there's like no trails or any. It's just pure woods with little ponds and stuff for like a couple of miles. And as a kid, it started getting dark in there, and like the teenagers in the area used to play like paintball and stuff back there, and they had built like tree stands and stuff up in the trees. So you would be like walking back in the dark, and you would like 100% swear that you saw someone sitting up in one of those. Absolutely terrifying.
Yeah. I think ghosts are scared of me. Because, like, a lot more, like, spooky shit happens to, like, my sister than me. I think I'm, like, an energy vampire or something. Like, there's a lot of off things about me, like, as a person. Like, from our winged scapula that we both have to just, like, other general things. But, like, my sister has talked about, like, one time she, like, yelled, she was, like, downstairs watching TV, and she, like, yelled up and was like, "Laban, are you home?" And apparently she got, like a very clear response, like, "Yeah, I'm here," or something like that. And then I walked in with my mom from the grocery store. Or there was this other time that she got out of the shower. She's a little bit of a mess. Being like, we both are, but like, you know how girls are in the bathroom. They have all their stuff everywhere. Yeah. And all her stuff had been like moved off the counter onto the ground in like the exact same way it was on the counter.
Okay.
So like a lot more weird stuff happens to like my family than me. The only like weird thing, like the only persistent weird thing that happens to me is there'll be like this metal dinging sound. And when I was younger, I had this like Spider-Man metal trash can, and I always thought it was the trash can like making like a dinging noise as like the temperature changed at night.
Yeah.
But then I got rid of the trash can at one point because like I'd grown up, and
bad move.
I still hear the dinging noise, and like it happens when I'm at school, it happens at home, and it's always like when I'm alone, and I don't know what it is, you know?
I just remembered I did have, back when I was younger, I did have one weird thing. So in like my childhood room, my bed was like across the room from my closet, and I would like sleep, so I was like looking at my closet, and most nights I would close the closet doors.
Yeah.
But for some reason, like, there was a couple of nights where like it wasn't quite all the way closed, and I saw something glowing in there. Like, it was like a slight green glow. Still to this day, I have yet to figure out what it was. I searched through the closet a many times to try and figure out if it was some like light up toy or something like that. It never went away. Well, I mean, it went away, but like I never figured out what happened or like what it was or anything. I just kind of forgot about it one day.
When I've never told anybody about this, but when I was really young, I think it was like sleep paralysis or something, but a little backstory. I have this King Tut like face, and it has like, it's covered in a gold leaf, and I won it in Hollywood at an auction, and it's worth like $100, but I got it for like $10 because nobody else bid on it because it's weird.
Yeah.
And one night I was like laying in my bed, and it was like, it used to be like when I like, we were like in the middle of a move, and we lived like an apartment, and it was hung above my bed, and one night it talked to me, and I think I was just like having sleep paralysis or something, but it like, and it kept changing, like, the voice it was using. I was probably, like, half asleep, but, like, that was some weird, scary shit, man. Like, that was... It like, made me feel like there was, like, a demon that had come into my room and, like, talked to me. And that was... I don't know, it was sketchy. But, so, like, at college, I used to go for these walks. Like, depression would get to me and all this. And I had this... I go to school in the mountains. I would walk up this mountain that my housing was on, and at the top was the baseball field. And I'd go up there, and I'd sit at the picnic tables late at night, and I'd look at the stars, and I'd just feel myself. But at the top of the hill, there was also this abandoned building. And it's no longer there, but it was called Broy Hill. I found out later, after a whole bunch of fuck shit, that it had been closed due to carbon monoxide poisoning. I'd already gone inside of it multiple times because one of the doors was not locked.
As you do.
Yeah, no, like, honestly, I entered, like... My thoughts and opinions in college was, if somebody doesn't live there and it's on the college grounds and it's not locked, it's not, yeah, it's not breaking and entering.
Yeah.
you just do it.
You just go in.
I'm really bummed though, because, like, when I was in there, at one point I found, like, the schematics for the building, and I stole that and I was gonna hang it up on my wall, but I ended up losing it, which is depressing. But, like, that, I thought that was cool. I was gonna use that to, like, decorate, which is something I don't do. I was gonna be like, I'm gonna be a real person and decorate.
I'm gonna have things in my room that aren't necessary.
Because, well, everybody does that. Like, everybody has, like, their, like, cool shit and posters and everything. And I, like, most of the time I just have blank walls, unless, like, somebody gets me something and puts it on my wall, because, like, yeah. I don't care.
Yeah,
I don't care. Just give me the black case. Anyways, so the two stories pertinent to Broy Hill are the first time I went up there. I always used to walk barefoot when I was in college because hippie school.
Yeah.
First time I got in there, I was walking around. I was being all stealthy, like I was investigating. Apparently, at one point, the like Brewing Sciences Club had, like, set up in there. So there's all these, like, beer bottles and, like, remnants of people partying, and there's graffiti all over the walls. And I'm sneaking around, and I hear somebody else in the building. And this is an abandoned building, so there's no AC, there's no latent noise or anything.
Yeah.
Sounds just permeate. Like even my soft ass barefoot steps you can hear unless I'm trying to be utmost quiet. And so, like, I'll take like 2 or 3 steps at a time, and then I will wait, and then I will hear them upstairs above me taking like a couple steps. And I'm not going to say it was a ghost, because it very well could have just been someone in the building. But I was terrified.
Now I'm imagining it's some other random college student, both terrified of you, and you're both doing the same thing.
Oh, yeah, like, I've thought it, like, it very well could have been. That we both, like, 2 people are, like...
stealthily in this building, scared of one another.
It's like, Catch-22 hide and seek. You're both hiding from each other. But, like, also, it very well could have been somebody who, like, had authority to be in the building, and I don't want to run into them. You don't want to find out. Like, I don't want to know who it is. I don't care who it is. I don't want to meet them right now. I'm not in a place to make a new friend. So I'm like on one side of the building, and of course there's doors everywhere, but there's only one unlocked entrance to get into this massive building complex.
Yeah.
I'm trying as quietly as possible to get out of the building, and that was like probably I was probably only in there for like 5 minutes while trying to get out, but that was like the longest 5 minutes of my life. Yeah. Getting out of that building. And then the minute I got outside, I just shot off. I was running. I ran so hard that I like bruised the bottom of my foot from like hitting the ground, like the concrete too hard, running down the sidewalk. Always wear shoes, kids.
Always wear shoes when exploring abandoned buildings.
And the other story was I was like on the far side of this building outside, and I was like, there's like this one strip where all the street lights just don't work. And when they started tearing down the building initially, for a long period of time, all the street lights everywhere around would flicker on and off, like around the entire area, whether it be like the baseball parking lot or anything. It was this eerie vibe. But so I'm walking over towards this like darker area, and off in the tree line in the woods, I see this gap in between these two trees. And there's, I don't know how to describe it. It's like there's like areas that are like darker than the rest that have like almost like shape, and it's almost like cloth strewn in a tree, or just like some leaves with nothing there, like no tree there. And it's like I'm looking at it, and it like rotates like almost like a deer turning to look at me, like, and it's like, imagine like its horns have like something on them, but you can only see the stuff on a deer's horns. It's like they rotate, and it like kind of, it felt like it looked at me, and then it kept rotating and like went behind a tree. And I was like frozen there for a second, and then in the classic horror movie response, I went, I gotta go see what that was.
Yeah.
So I like walk over, still like mortified inside. Like I walk over, and there's nothing there, but like it was just such a visceral feeling to see something, not know what it is, and just never find out.
That's always the worst part, is never having closure about what actually happened.
And it's hard to even like describe what it is, because like my description sounds weird, and like looking at it was weird, because it's not like, it wasn't like this like man, it was like weird. It was like I don't know what else to say about it.
Ghosts.
Yeah, I don't think they like me though. Like, I don't know. I always tell my friends, like, when they're like talking about like haunted shit, like, just invite me over. It'll stop.
Hey demons, it's me, your boy. Just your neighborhood friendly demon coming around to hang out.
Coronavirus. That really dates this video, doesn't it?
Oh yeah.
So, do you think you have any like powers? Like what do you think? Is everything purely physical in your mind?
I'm gonna need you to explain a little bit more.
I don't know. Like I'm one that's prone to delusions of grandeur, but like there's definitely weird things about me. Like I heal faster than most people do.
Okay.
Like,
okay.
Remember when I broke my foot, and then I still went to the prom with a broken foot?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like that kind of shit.
I don't know if I have anything like that. Maybe like I've always had like a little bit weird spatial awareness of things. Like I think that's why I enjoy Counter-Strike so much. Is because I've always been really good at like visualizing things.
Yeah, yeah.
So like if I like in the game, like if I hear a footstep, like in my mind I have a 3D version of the map. And like I do that when I'm driving too. Like I'm always calculating, like if I'm pulling out of a turn or something, like calculating speed in my mind and stuff like that.
I feel like I have a weird grasp on that. Sometimes it's better and sometimes it's weird. Like that's another thing. I feel like I like roll the dice every day. Like if I was a D&D character, which I've never played D&D. We should play sometime.
We should play D&D on the podcast.
Oh, that'd be great. We would need a DM though, because we have no idea what we're doing.
No idea. Yeah.
But like I feel like if I was a D&D character, I feel like every morning I wake up and I like roll the dice and like those are my stats for the day. Like I feel like I'm inconsistent. Like when we play Counter-Strike, like sometimes
wildly inconsistent.
Sometimes I'm just so good, and then sometimes like it'll literally be like halfway through the round and I can't hit anybody. I just lose it. It's gone. It's
gone.
I just rolled the dice
again and it's just gone.
But like there's some things that are consistent. Like I heal fast and I have really good vision. I have 20/10 vision and excellent night vision. It's like when we're in the car, like I almost always see things like deer first.
Yeah.
And if it's night, I don't care.
Oh, you remember when we were on the camping trip? Tony couldn't see anything in the dark, and we were like, "Yeah, you don't see that tree over there?" And he's like, "What?"
You remember when I was pointing, like literally, okay, so there was like a chipmunk that crawled up a tree like behind me and everybody else, and I'm like staring at this motherfucker, and I'm like, guys, there's like a squirrel or something right there, and I'm like pointing at it, and nobody believed me. Everybody was like, no, like Tony was like, you're drunk, and I was like, no, Tony. I stood up, I kicked my drink over on accident, which pissed me off because then I felt like he like was validated.
Yes.
And then I like walked over and I literally could have grabbed this chipmunk off the tree.
See, it's in that moment. It's not that I believed you fully, but my mind didn't want me to.
Yeah.
If you know what I'm saying. Like I was like dead certain that you were like 100% into what you were saying. But then again, my mind was like, no, it's not real. That can't be happening right now. This is all an illusion.
I think my parents have like grown used to like some of like that strangeness that like we were like all sitting out on like our front porch one night like talking about like whatever, and I saw something in the grass, and then I like went into just like this pure primal state, and I stood up and I lunged out into our yard, and I came back holding I don't remember if it was like a weevil, and we like kept it like I have like a pictures like video on the phone of having this thing in like a cardboard box where I caught this rodent. It was a shrew, and like we like everybody was like, how did you even see this in the yard? And I was like, it was there!
It was there!
But, like, man, shrews are weird, though. Because, like, I wanted to keep it as a pet, but when I looked it up, what I found out is that, like dogs will, like, grow on you over time, and they'll, like, become attached to you.
Yeah.
But, like, weevils will never... No, shrews will never do that. Like, you can own a shrew, but the shrew will never like you.
Yeah.
The other weird thing I found out is that they're poisonous. Even though they're a mammal, like, their bite is, like, it didn't bite me. Which is surprising based on how long I held this thing. But, I guess I just went into God mode. Not to be blasphemous.
Oh, it reminds me, when I was younger, we were at the pool one day, and, like, behind the pool that we used to go to, like, there was, like, I think it was another one of those, like, drainage ponds kind of things. And there would always be, like, frogs and stuff that would end up in the pool. Well, one day I found this little turtle And I got it out of the pool, and it was like maybe about the size of a quarter. Like the tiniest little thing.
Yeah.
And
did it bite you?
It didn't bite me. No. We'll get to that. So, my parents, like, we were never the family. Like, we don't have a dog. We never got anything. But, like, we always had, like, hermit crabs and, like, fish. Like, those kind of, like, in a tank contained.
Yeah.
That kind of...
Man, I miss when we had... I'm sorry, quick interruption. We used to have this fish tank with all like the snails and shit, and my dad always promised me we'd get a horseshoe crab, and we never did. But I'm fucking obsessed with those things. Keep going.
So for some reason, my mom let me keep the turtle, and like went to PetSmart and like got the whole like huge tank and like the whole setup to have a pet turtle. And so we get it, we have it for a little while, and we like up until this point we still have no idea what kind of turtle it is.
Yeah.
Like we don't know what I got. We just know we have a small turtle and it's fun. And we got a tank and we put it in my room. And at the time, my mom was working...
Is it like a protected species or something?
No. It gets so much better. It's so much better. So at the time, my mom was working at the public library, and one day she got curious, and she was like, I want to figure out what kind of turtle we have. So she found a book on turtles.
Yeah.
Discovered that I had brought home an alligator snapping turtle. Which get to like 4 feet in diameter or something like
that.
The
meme with the alligator snapping turtle?
Yes,
where, like,
yes.
It's like Sasuke. You are weak.
So I had one of those, and this thing starts growing fast. And then it became like a family entertainment, because my dad, in Michigan, we had Myers, and back then they used to have like a fish section where you could buy fish. And so on his way home from work, he would stop there and buy some of the like 99-cent goldfish.
Oh my god.
And we would drop them in the tank.
Oh my god.
And like the first one it ate, it didn't like, it hadn't quite gotten the scale, so it ate it the wrong way. So like the scales kind of got stuck on the way down. But after that, I got it figured out.
Oh
so like you would drop it in there and the thing wouldn't last 3 seconds.
Oh, that sounds brutal.
Oh, it was insane.
Floating
and like
in the water.
Like my dad used to have to like take it out of the tank and like clean off the
scrub
algae.
it with a toothbrush.
And like the only reason we ended up getting rid of it is because it started getting so big that my dad couldn't hold it down to scrub off its shell.
Did it ever like try and bite you guys when you would clean it or anything?
It did everything to try and bite us.
Like phenomenal.
Like it would bite. If it had the chance, it would bite your finger off. We ended up letting it go. It got larger than the can of soda in like less than a year, and we had to let it go because like could just not handle that anymore.
Oh my god.
So we took it back to those woods in the drainage ponds, because one time when we were back there, we had caught one that was like 3 feet back there, and it was an alligator snapping turtle. So he was like, yeah, that's a perfect place to go put it. It'll have friends. I bet it's still living back there. It's gotta be huge at this point.
It's like 8 feet in diameter.
It's gotta be. It's already eaten like 3 small children.
The swamp monster. Okay. Minor horror story. So my dad's amazing, flawless human being. Back when we lived in this same like apartment duplex thing that like my King Tut mask talked to me in, he would like take me out and we would like go, and we wouldn't do normal things. We like one time we went to like, we would like go weird places. Like there'd be like a park that had like a walkway with like a drainage culvert and stuff, and we would like look, and we ended up like, we had like a trash can, and we like got like a newt in this trash can and all this stuff. And at one point, for some, I don't remember why, but we filled the thing up with like worms. And like,
okay,
I think one was like a really long leech or something, but it like looked like a worm, because like all the other worms were just like in the thing. This thing was like crawling up the side of this trash can, And I don't know why, but, like, young me, that just, like, I was probably, like, less, like, 8 or 9 or something. That was, like, viscerally terrifying to me. Like, I felt like this thing was gonna, like, crawl into my body. Like, it had gone from, like, a worm to, like, a Terminator worm.
All right.
And I think it was, like, a while back, I, like, saw a video where it was, like, some kind of leech that, like, looked like a worm, and it, like, ate a worm. And I think it was, like, one of those things.
Okay. So properly terrifying.
Yeah, it really was, but, like, I was a kid. Like, that's why I was terrified. But, like, something about it, the fact that, like, it... No matter how slow it was climbing up this trash can, like, I was viscerally afraid to knock it back down into the trash can. Like, it was gonna, like, crawl into my fingers. I don't know. Living in that house was weird. This was the same house where, this was a time in my life when I was homeschooled. And, it had gotten to be too much for my mom to be, like, teaching us. So they had, like, swapped to this, like, online curriculum. So basically, I was, like, teaching myself. And at some point, I came to the realization that nobody was really paying attention. So I would just wake up early each day. Like I'd, like, woken up early, like, one morning. And I finished all my schoolwork. Everything was great. And I started playing video games, and it was, like, before my mom had even woken up, and it was awesome because she came up and she was like, "Did you finish your homework?" And I was like, "Yeah," and I just played video games all day after that. And this was, if anybody knows this game, this was when VMK, Virtual Magic Kingdom, was a thing, and that was some bullin' shit. Probably nobody knows what that is, but it was, like, this Disney, like, chat room weird stuff. This was the socialization I could get as, like, an 8-year-old who was homeschooled. It was
Desperate.
Yeah, terrible. First girlfriend was an online RP girlfriend. Broke my heart. But okay, so back to the story. It got to the point where I'd just wake up each day and I would just say that I'd done my homework, because I'd, like, wake up at, like, 8 and start playing video games. And, like, all of a sudden, I was the good kid who, like, between me and my sister, who just did my homework early and then played video games. But in reality,
I was an illusion.
I was just waking up super early to play video games. And, like, this went on for, like, hell, I don't even know how long. Probably, like, 2 months or something, like something serious.
Yeah.
And finally I got caught, and oh god,
the hell rained down.
yeah, it's like when we went back. Oh, I was in so much trouble. But, like, man, that was probably, like, the healthiest and happiest I ever was. Just, like, waking up super early to play video games. Just like, yeah, man, I feel great. But, I was, honestly, I was eaten away by guilt.
So we could, if you want, we could take some questions from not our fans.
There are fans. Don't lie to yourself.
Okay. When putting chips into a bowl, do you grab some with your hand or pour? My brother says pour, but I think it's faster to grab.
Are they your chips?
I feel like that's a really important question.
Like are you like at, like, someone else's family gathering, or did you buy these chips?
Yeah, like, if it's, like, my bag of chips, well, if it's my bag of chips, I'm not putting it in the bowl to begin with. But if I am gonna put it in a bowl, I feel like I might do a grab. But, like, if it's in a social situation...
Is someone watching me?
That's a good question. Like, I don't want to, like, you know, be the guy who's, like, staring you down, you're about to eat these chips, and I just put my hand and touch every single one of them, putting them into a bowl.
Is this, like, pre-corona? What is the germophobic level of this time and place?
let's go with current, pre-corona.
Maybe. How much of a dirty whore are you?
I feel like it all depends on the situation.
I just took a sip of that and I forgot it was vodka and not just straight bang. Whew. Yeah, continue.
Yeah.
We're drinking, guys. I don't know if you caught that.
They didn't need to know.
They need an explanation for the drastic quality drop that's gonna happen.
If they need an explanation, they're not true fans.
I mean, like, I feel like people are gonna need like all of my friends need an explanation for most of the shit I do, because like my roommates, they'll be like, "Why do you just stand on things?" Like I'll like when I'm excited and I'm talking to like my roommates, like the more excited I am, the higher object I'm standing on.
Yeah, like you start out on like
the
a
floor.
small, and then
you
move up.
Get on the couch, and then you're on the back of the couch, and then at some point you're like standing on like the bottom banister of the stairs.
And then you start like walking up on the like edge of the stairs.
No. Like it stops when like my head is like slumped over like because of the ceiling. Like I can't stand up fully anymore. Well, unless there's like a fridge, I might like sit on top of a fridge.
That's just a power stance.
Really though, like college, like in high school, everybody's like at that super judgmental phase. But like when I went to college, like one of the few times that girls like catcalled me was because like I had this friend in transition into becoming a male, and they had this electric scooter they didn't need anymore, and they were like, "Yeah, you can have / use this electric scooter." And I was just like scootering around campus on the communist collective scooter, and in my pajamas, and everybody was just like cheering for me as I went by because I'm on this electric scooter in my PJ.
Oh, of course.
I'm not going anywhere.
It doesn't matter if you're going anywhere.
Oh.
You're already there. If you're on an electric scooter in your PJs, you've already made it.
I don't want to admit to my parents how many classes I went to like barefoot in pajama pants. Like, especially because I did like Watauga college thing, which is like this like smaller circle thing that you do like freshman and sophomore year, where instead of like the usual dorms, like the only reason I signed up, I didn't know what it was at all. It ended up being like hippie, like honored college, but like I signed up because we had to live in this dorm, and it was like nicer than all the other dorms. Like instead of having like the floor toilet, each like you'd have like a room with 2 people in it, and you'd have like a Jack and Jill style bathroom between every 2 rooms. So it's like 4 people to a bathroom with 2 sinks and like one of the utilities. And shit, where was I going with this? And so I signed up for that reason, and we would have our like gen ed courses together. So it's like everybody lived in the same dorm, and you would have your English class, your gen ed English that everybody has to have, with instead of like a group of strangers, with people that lived in your dorm. And they'd be these themed things. Like we had this, like one of the coolest ones I had was this survival English class with this crazy hippie teacher.
All right.
And we would have class like outside almost every day. The first book we were supposed to read, disclaimer, I didn't read any books in college. You don't have to do that if you're good enough at being whatever the fuck I am. You can just talk in class like you know what you're talking about, and generally you'll get away with it. Yeah, really, that's how it works. That's what
I mean, it's most classes.
school just teaches you. It doesn't teach you how to learn. It teaches you how to like act like you've learned things. And then occasionally you'll learn something cool, but like a lot of the times that's not actually like something part of your class. Anyways, we were in this survival class. First book we read was talking about cannibalism. And,
great starter.
Well, yeah, because we were talking about like the purpose was cannibalism. It was this book about this plane that crashed in the Andes Mountains, and basically the only food they had were the people who died on impact. So they resorted to eating these people. They didn't kill people. They ate dead people because that's all they could do to survive. And like me and one of my friends, Claudia, we immediately were like, yeah, if I die, you can eat me, and if you died, I'm going to eat you.
Understandable. Yeah, have a nice day.
Yeah, it's like I miss Claudia, man. I went to her wedding. It was great. She was engaged when she showed up, and she was younger than me, and I was like, damn, man, really putting a damper on my poor relationship skills. But yeah, like that was our English class, was this survival English class, and we had this final, and our final was like we had to like research this project and basically teach people how to do this project. And mine was BS, obviously. I like invented it, and then I found things to support what I wanted to do. And I basically went out into the woods in like an area where we were allowed to do whatever our project was, and I dug this trench into the ground, and then I covered like most of it in sticks and then leaves, buried that in the dirt that I dug up, and then covered it in like sticks and leaves again. And I had a meerkat hole out in these woods that I would go and get high in like every night. Because I lived in the dorm. You can get high in the dorms, kids. But we're not going to talk about that right now. So I would go out and I'd get down in this meerkat hole in the woods, and that's how I had a string of high Jesus occurrences where I would like, because I'd bring some of my friends out and we'd smoke in the hole. You could fit 2 people in this hole, like you'd face each other like with your legs crossed and you'd smoke. And we'd also for this like class built like T-pose shelters out in the woods, and of course my group's was the best, obviously.
Of course.
And we had figured out you could fit at least, like, if you crammed people inside, like a survival situation, you could fit 8 people inside the shelter. One night, I'm out in the woods smoking, and my lighter stops working. I barely finished. I'd probably finished like a third of this bowl, and at this point, I'd been doing this for a while. I was like full on nature man. I was constantly in a state of paranoia, and I heard somebody else in the woods, and I wouldn't use a flashlight because I knew these woods like the back of my hand. My meerkat hole was like in this like curved area in the woods where it was like cut through, that wasn't a real trail, and it was like cut through between 2 areas of the same trail where it was like a roundabout. So you can imagine it was like a D kind of.
Okay.
So like good escape point kind of. Like if anybody's coming from one way, you have like 2 way, like both ends end up at like parking lots eventually. So I can go up or down, and then I have like a loop. And I don't use lights because, like, of course, like, security, like, there's tales of people getting caught out here. Let me smoke real quick. Of, people getting caught by security.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I hear these loud-ass motherfuckers out in the woods, and I'm like, there's 2 things this could be. It's either some security people, or it's some dumbass stoners.
Yeah.
I don't have a lighter. I decide I'm going to hedge my bets. So I'm like stealthing my way down the trail, and eventually I come up on like near where these loud ass people are, and I realize it is stoners. And on top of being stoners, these motherfuckers have gone off the trail to smoke, and now they're lost. So I give them the pss, 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 come here, kitty, and I get them back to the trail, and I'm trying to I'm a little stoned, I'm like a little nervous, I'm trying not to come off as like some like creepy woods guy. Like I've got like my beard grown out and stuff. I'm full hippie out in these woods. I'm trying like not to be weird. I get these guys back on the trail. They're thanking me, and I'm just like, "Hey guys, just to make sure we're on the same page, you are out here smoking, right?" And they kind of like they give each other the look, and they're like trying to figure out how they're gonna answer this question.
Yeah.
Because there's like 3 of them, and they're like, "Yeah, we're smoking." They come clean, and I'm like, "Awesome. So am I, but my lighter died." And I'm like, "Is there any way I can borrow your lighter?" And we're sitting here trying to figure all this out, and eventually I just go, do you guys just want to smoke like more? So I like bring, and they're like, yeah. So I like bring all of them up, and I like get my shit that I didn't bring with me, obviously.
Yeah.
I like left it in my hole in case it was the worst case scenario. And so I get my shit, and I take them to this T-pose, and now I'm just like high ass Jesus with these paranoid kids, and we're all sitting around smoking in like this jungle shack, and and like we get so stoned, and it's like me, this dude, and 2 girls, and we go back, and like the girls split off, and I realize like this dude, he lives in the same dorm as me. He's not like in the same like community, because like there's other like communities that live in this, like the like ACEs group, and like some of the honor college, or like people who are like foreign transfers. And I never saw him again, but like we said we'd be friends after that.
Yeah, I'll definitely call you.
Yeah, man. No, didn't happen. The strange woods kids never woodsed again.
They never dared to go back into the woods. Oh,
I gotta use the bathroom again. I like don't know how to like get an interlude in the podcast to use the bathroom though, because I'm like afraid if we pause it and then like start, it's just gonna like just gonna delete everything.
We can't edit this.
Sure we can. I can do it.
But it's a podcast. The whole point of this was to not edit.
Well, if we paused it and then saved it and then like started another one, I mean, we could just have this be like the first podcast, and then we could like get some more to drink, and like we could have an interlude, and then we could start podcast 2. Yeah, because like then there's like no requirement for everybody to like listen to like the whole ass thing. They'll just be like, they'll see that it's like, this is already probably, it's like an hour long. They'll be like, yeah, it's only an hour. I can sit for an hour. Yeah. And then at the very end they'll be like, no, I need
episode 2. We wait a year, finally release episode 2.
Avengers Infinity War. But let's take a quick break.
All right. Back to figuring out how to stop this thing.
Yeah, back to the past.